fuck itself? I'd be very surprised. Oh wow, it actually did. Oh, great. Alright, well let me try to salvage this dumpster fire. Hang on a second. Oh, great. Alright, well let me try to salvage this dumpster fire. Hang on a second. Right, so we're gonna turn this one down. Stop the echo. Say Q to 20. Maybe 25. That's good enough. Different music. Elder Scrolls intro. Always good. Alright, since I tweaked the audio level since then, I'll have to do a quick check. Hang on a second. I'll do an official intro. Alright, since I tweaked the audio level since then, I'll have to do a quick check. Hang on a second. I'll do an official intro. Well, I mean, that sounds okay to me. Let's see video capture. Did I have it flipped? I think I should have it flipped. Let's see. Flip image. Yeah, that should be better. Alright, let me change that over to the desktop then. Last sound check. Change that over to the desktop then. Last sound check. Yeah, alright, that seems good enough. Alright, well ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the stream. I'm your host, The Dutchman, and today we're going to be making some space maps. I had some difficulty getting the stream going, my apologies for that. I'm nearly 30 minutes late at this point, but I did what I could to fix it, and I think it actually worked. First we had a webcam error. The screen was all black. That was fun, but we eventually got rid of it. And after that we had a content 5000 something error, content not available. But yeah, let's get started, alright? The first thing that you want to do is, if you are going to make new maps, is you want to put the main data folder of your mod over the main data folder of the game. Now that's very simple, you just copy it over. You do probably need to create a backup of the original data folder, which I've done right here. That's the data vanilla. This is just the vanilla game, nothing else added. Alright, this is installed by the... thanks to GOG. Right, I was wondering what those folders were doing there. They're not supposed to be there in the vanilla game, but as I said, the GOG version of the game does install that. So how's everyone doing today? I'm sorry for all the mix-up, but I think we're finally online. Alright, got it fixed. Got it fixed at last. Time to make some maps. That's indeed what we are going to do. Twitch not available, content not available. Oh, I had like 20 tabs open with error messages trying to fix it. I have to say technology is wonderful if it works, but if it doesn't it can be quite annoying. Especially if you really have to get it to work. On a time schedule. Like, oh damn, I've got 5 minutes left to fix this. This is the Petroglyph map editor. It can simply be found online. You can edit maps with it. Logically. And it's what we use to create maps. This is the interface. It's not very difficult to understand. A lot of these options don't even have a purpose because they were never finished. So the way I do this, by the way, this is in maps. Let's see, these are the these are the old ones, right? So if I now open Beststein, I should get the regular one. There was something I wanted to change on Beststein. This map's already done. By the way, as you can see, here is the interface. Starbase is burning, but that's just a side effect of the map editor itself, the Death Star. The screen is a bit stretched because the map editor originally was meant to be used in 4:3, I think it was, resolution, but eventually that of course changed. Let's see, do any of these have to be... so that's the issue. Okay, yes, and that's the 2 dots. On Beststein, if you look at the minimap, there were 2 yellow dots, which means that one of the props in the map is actually assigned to... Am I actually audible? Let's see, do any of of these have to be... so that's the issue. Right.
Yes.
It works. Good. Anyway, back to what I was saying. The dots on the minimap actually meant that 2 of the props on the map is assigned to a faction. Now you simply select the props and then you set it to neutral, and that fixes it, of course. Alright, well that's all we have to do on Bestine. It's time to open some vanilla maps, and you'll notice how much brighter they are. I think I have them dumped over here. Yes, I do. Kind of forgot what I placed in here. Also doesn't really matter. This is the regular Bespin, not Bestine. I was wondering, like, what? Oh, I should have made a... Goddamn, I forgot. When I exported the Death Star yesterday, after I did some more tweaking, I should have... Let's see, Bestine should be gone. Here, yes. Where do we start? Do we start at the bottom of the list? Why is it... Alright, let's order that according to names. Alright, let's just start at the top. Very simple. I should have given the Death Star a small box or something in the middle. Normally it would be invisible, but when editing it in the map editor and the starting location of the Death Star, it would be far easier to be able to simply select it. But I think if you simply click on the screen anywhere, it already selects it regardless. So that's good. Death Star position under markers, right? Yes. Marker. So we simply delete that for now, and here what you get to see is a normal map in vanilla Forces of Corruption, right? This is where you start. Starting location of the defending fleet and the starting location of your invading fleet. And you'll have to forgive me for drinking a bit of coffee while we do this. You get your planet that you can move around, and a couple of satellites. Bunch of special structure position. Is there any difference between these? No, there really isn't. It's actually good. That means you can place multiple. Didn't know it was that easy to simply place 3 on the map. We do have 3 special structures buildable in the mod so far, so. And I'm not actually sure how it spawns the other ones, but sure. We'll look at that some other time. I'll have a look at chat before we continue. No, it should be visible right now. Good evening, Doki. Good evening, ISD Vader. Seeing some Undertaker, of course. I'm seeing some familiar faces. Welcome back, guys. Sorry I haven't streamed in a bit. Real life does get in the way of things. Oh damn, my salad is gone. Well, that happens. What about Scarif? I'm not gonna make a special map for Scarif. Probably not. Probably just use one of the regular ones we're going to make. What about Scarif? Scarif. Probably just gonna use one of the maps that we're going to make. You guys do so much work for this game. I'm so happy that you do this, and I'm so hyped about the CIA ships. Thank you. I do try very hard to make them look as good as I can. And how's the assignment doing? Well, I threw a couple of concepts out the... how are we going to do this, by the way? Sorry, I interrupted myself there. I'll get back to it. Right, so we're going to change the maps to up levels. That should be good. So we're going to change it to 20,000 units, because that's the max distance you can have before, if you are at the edge of the map, you start clipping through the galaxy model. Now you can reduce the size of the galaxy model, but that also reduces the real estate you have to play with to place the Death Star, so you don't want to do that. But yeah, I was talking about the assignment for a little bit. The assignment is going reasonably well. I tossed out a couple of ideas and a couple of art assets. I actually made a whole bunch of castle props that I wasn't able to use because it changed the idea. I initially wanted to make a large fortress for it, but that eventually didn't work out, simply because it was too much work, I think. And right now I'm making a very simple sort of prison escape thingy. Still has the same theme though. It's going to be an Angmar dungeon. There's going to be several torture chambers. It's going to... let me see if I can pull up those props real quick. Angmar props. It's going to use the same Angmar theme. It's going to be an Angmar dungeon that you have to escape out of. It's going to have several torture chamber elements and such. A little morbidity in it, of course. And indeed, I did take some inspiration from the Amnesia game, of course, the absolute classic. These are the props that I had created. No, that was a tower I removed. It was very simple architecture. It was not very anything special. So they're very different art styles, these things. I try to see what fit. And after I placed them in Unity, I was like, alright, this is interesting, but also modeling the interiors would simply take too long. So I tossed out the idea. The only way this is now ever going to be used if some Battle of Middle-earth mod decides they want the props. That's not relevant for now, of course. We're going to go back to the thing for now. Abrigado Ray. It was a temperate planet, right? Right, temperate backdrop. All right. Now I was smart about this, and I named all of the new planet props AAA and then the name, so that we'd be able to find them quicker. There's a temperate one. There's a couple of others. I exported the ones that I thought would be useful. Let's see. Is this yes, this is the correct one. Let's see. What else could we use for this one planet? I'm not even sure if Alderaan and Temperate use a different texture. Probably do. Yeah, they do, obviously. I only exported these planet props if they actually used a separate texture, so you can be assured that they do use individual textures. Alright, let's position you to the center of the grid and then place you away. No, wait, that's angle. Oh, sorry for spazzing that out there, guys. Vertical, I mean. Alright, there we go. Planet prop placed. So, this planet prop's obviously very large. It shouldn't stretch all the way across the map, but it should almost. Let's increase this to the absolute max, which is 100,000 distance units. Which doesn't really say anything, it's just the unit of measurement used. As you can see, there's still space in between. We'll see what we do with that. And now we change it back to 2. And then we'll move around, and then it'll automatically confine the camera back to the playing screen that we have. Or at least this is the playable area that you've got. This is the playable area, and this is how far the camera can go sideways. Now the camera is of course unlocked in the mod, so it doesn't actually use the restriction boundaries, so that's pretty good. Let's see, what kind of setting are we going for? Abrigado Ray. Let's see, the enemy's coming from that side. I do like the idea of positioning the Death Star somewhere in and around the starting location of the enemy, which means that the Death Star will be coming from that side. So the planet will be in and around there. Let's actually open up a little bit more music so that we have a little bit more, whatchamacallit? Diversity. Right, we only have these for now. We could put on the Skyrim soundtrack. At least we're starting with the Skyrim soundtrack. And we can queue up the Elder Scrolls soundtrack after that. Elder Scrolls 3, of course. I sometimes call the Morrowind. Ah yes, the extremely annoying bug where it sometimes deselects the planet, and the planet prop, of course, is so far away that once you have it deselected, it can no longer be selected. So you kind of have to place it in one go, which is annoying, but it's the way she goes. Now, what you have to watch watch for is if it actually goes through the galaxy model, because I'm really pushing the boundaries of the prop sizes in the game, because as I said, the galaxy model is already at the max size, well before it starts clipping out on this map distance, and the planet prop is also pretty much as far as you can go with size, so which means that you really have to watch out that they don't start clipping through each other. I think they might hit, but I'm not sure if that's actually visible from... Where's the starbase? Right here. Alright, so it will be about here, so that's... Okay, let's move it a little bit. In that distance? What's the max? Alright, we'll just... setting distances according to these values is a little fucky, because it always halves the value that you put in. It's not even consistent in the amount of value that it actually gives you. So if you say 50,000, I think it gives you like 36,000. It's a little weird. because you can't actually drag the slider that far, but you can set the value manually. Now let's see, does this actually clip with the galaxy? It shouldn't. I really shouldn't. No, I think I did it properly, you see? There's a small curvature around the prop. I modeled it to have a disc shape, and then the edges are sort of cutting off. That was supposed to create the atmosphere effect, which it does quite nicely on the Bastei map. It also means that you have a point of reference. For example, this area right here, if you go back to the playable area of the map, which is... where's that goddamn starbase going? If you increase the map size this big, then it's a little funky. Okay, so as you can see here, it actually cuts off the curvature very nicely. So that's exactly what we want to have. So now we reduce it back to a reasonable size. Right, the actual playable area. Is this enough though? What if we... I want to put it further. See, and that changed it to 20,000. It's a little weird. Okay, so that is the max size. That is also in position. Alright, so this is about as far as we can go. Does it actually clip on the other side? No, it doesn't. Good. Does it clip on the other side? No, it doesn't. Which is great. Well, let's see. Oh my lord, I need a second monitor for chat. Still need to get on that. Okay, well this distance is acceptable, I think. Now we can try to do is position it along here. Oh god, what did I do? That's the angle, that's not the position. The Y position, I wanted to place it a little bit further. Let's try 8,000 for a bit. What is that? That gives you a minus number, that is impressive. That still gives you a minus number. That's what I'm saying. The map editor is a little funny at times. Okay, good. So that's 5. It still doesn't clip. It doesn't clip there. Does it clip on the top? I don't think it does. Okay, so that's good. What you basically want to do is you want to create the illusion that the planet is as large as you can get it. So you really have to fine-tune where you place that thing, because that's all it is. It's just angle and position. And with that you can create a setting. Okay, I think the position is good for now. And then we save, of course. Always Control S. Always be saving. Where's the light source right now? The light source is right there. Let's put it there. Put it at like 20 degrees. Turn you guys off because I don't like you one bit. And then the other thing first, which is the Death Star. Of course, we want to position that. We go to marker and then Death Star position. How far do we need it to be exactly? I'm not sure. But you basically have to do the same thing for the Death Star. You have to ensure that it doesn't clip through the map. Or the galaxy thing, I mean. Example. Could be there. It does not clip too bad. You can still see it clipping a little bit, so. This is 50,000 by 40,000, right? Let's instead go with 40,000 to that. And I do want to put it at an angle. Verticality, I mean, not at an angle. You can't sadly place the Death Star in an angle. The game doesn't really respect that, which is sad. You can of course rotate it into position. I'm not actually sure if it levels out the Death Star. I'm not even sure if it allows you to place it at different verticality. It should. It should. But I'm not sure if it angles the Death Star on to the planet, because it will automatically lock onto the planet and then start an on-rails approach towards the planet until it has reached a certain distance. It starts at a certain distance, and which is set in the XML code, and then it moves at a set speed, which is also in the XML, towards the stopping distance, which is also in the XML. So it's an on-rails thing, so it goes directly towards the center of the planet. And the distance, the center of the planet, by the way, is the exact middle. Not of the disk, but the exact top of the disk. So since it locks onto that, I'm not sure if it also rotates and tilts the station. Would be interesting to see. I can't actually. Maybe it's why, if we don't know that yet, maybe it's wise to set this in a location we can actually determine that with. So let's try that. So we rotate you, we set you up, and if I need to select you again, can I do that? Because if I save this now and I test it in game, then I of course need to be able to select it again to reposition the prop, otherwise we can throw away the map because we have misplaced the Death Star prop. And if we can no longer select it and reposition or delete it, then okay, so we can select it again. This is excellent. This is good. Which means I'm going to test this right now. This is the Abrogado Ray. Right. Abrogado Ray, it has been saved. Then we go to the folder where we had that saved. Which is data. Oh yeah, I wanted to check what this had. Oh right, this was from when I was trying to find where the UI files were located. Abrogado Ray. Okay, so we got this now. What we simply do is we drop this in the mod folder. Data are maps. Yes, override. And there it is. And now we're going to launch the game. And we're going to see in game how the Death Star position works. If it does indeed tilt up and down, that would be great. That means you can do some very interesting scenery and setting for the maps, of course. Now, we did place the Death Star prop very close to the map, which is not going to be a problem because the on-rails locomotor of the Death Star will automatically put it at the correct distance, or it should, anyway. So we're going to go to, just like that, right. So we're going to go to my test Galactic Conquest, which is this one. 10 planets start as Empire, Tech 5. And then we're going to cruise on to the Abrogado Ray. Not even sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I never knew how to, or never learned how to pronounce all these planet names. The original Empire at War, when I first played that, I gave some planets some really weird names that I thought. Right, so small little fleet. But yeah, Abrogado Ray is special. I can't remember what I called that, but it was some really dumb shit. Okay, so we basically have to find find the planet first. Abrogado Ray. Not actually sure what it is. Roche Asteroids. I think I found it in this. I found it a second ago and now it's gone. Right, Abrogado Ray. I'm not crazy. Right, we have to go via here. This is a very simple and useful thing to have, by the way. It's a test Galactic Conquest where it spawns a whole bunch of stuff for you to test out. Vestine has a very large fleet, which is where you see all the battles take place. Alright, let's go. And then the Abrogado Ray. And now we will see if the Death Star position is actually correct or not. If it levels it to the 0 height plane on the map, I'll be a little disappointed. Can you guys actually see this, by the way? Does Twitch pick this up? It does. Wow, that's amazing. I thought you had to switch scenes for that. Oh, that coffee is doing me good right now. Worth noting, there are new.
Tactical battle imminent.
That's a pretty large fleet. Ooh. There's new icons for a lot of the units made by RBP, which did a stellar job on the new icons. By the way, this happens if you place the spawn points too close to the thing.
This pitiful force is preventing our assault on this system. Dispatch them so that we can secure orbit for the
Ah, look,
Empire.
it does. This is great. That's amazing. Does it?
Enemy ships.
Right, so we're far outside the map right now, but that doesn't matter. This is just... See, that's the issue with the distance.
Intercepting.
Okay, so...
Nowhere to go.
luckily the Death Star is a sphere, so all you have to do is make sure it has reached the middle point here. Let's see, does it still... Oh, that means I can also show you the new Death Star firing. In fact, let's blow up a whole bunch of shit in one go, shall we? Oh wait, it can't actually target corvettes. Fuck.
He won't be around much.
No, that's unfortunate. I was looking forward to showing that actually.
Target critical.
Is there really nothing else here? No, if there was a frigate in this fleet, it'll be blasted by the Annihilator immediately. Okay, so it is correctly locked onto the planet. That's just good. Okay, so can we tilt it? That's what I want to know. Can we tilt it? If we can tilt it, that would be pretty good. Right, close you. And then we select the thing again. It's also very useful for actually changing the map lighting. And of course, it is a very popular subject to complain about. Moan, complain, and whine, as Total Biscuit once said. Rip him. Ambient color. Four. Shadow. Reasonably dark. There doesn't need to be any color here for now. I mean, there is no light here, but I'll set it to black anyway. Stars are all black. I actually removed all the secondary sky domes, but one, which is this one. We're not going to use this anywhere, by the way. Let's see. What's the bloom setting like? Enable bloom. Strength. Maximum. Cut off. Oof, that's... Once you start designing this sort of stuff, you start realizing that... Where's the goddamn station? I need to reset the camera. There's a hotkey for that. Home. Okay, I need to remember that. Okay, so once you start designing this this sort of stuff, you learn very fast. There's a lot of interesting effects you can get, like this bloom setting. It's interesting. Does it look good? Not necessarily. It's interesting. But you basically have to find a balance between making it look good and making it look interesting. Let's see, size. I can even increase that. It's absurd levels. Cutoff. We need to use the cutoff. I'm not opposed to having a little bit of bloom, but too much of a good thing does become a bad thing. Let's set you at. Let's actually set you at just 90. Let's see what happens. I don't actually see anything right now, so what about 80? No. How much do we need for the hangars to show up? More. A lot more. So if we set it to 5. Okay, that actually removes it. That's not the point. How about 25? 25 is too much, I think. Ugh. See, that's what you want to avoid. Strength, how about... I mean, you do need a little bit of strength, so let's set you to 50%. And the size... Okay. Now the cutoff. The cutoff is the real issue. Okay, so if we set it to say 50, then it will not render on the hangars, which is a little annoying because I actually was looking forward to having that. Bloom on hangars is always nice. Gives a nice glowy feel, which is of course what you want. You can really enhance your light meshes doing that. But the issue is that you can't actually rotate the camera downwards, by the way. It's really annoying. It's a map editor issue. It's widely known. You get this, but I think it can be done by simply reducing the intensity of the light, which I know nobody wants because it makes the maps darker, but bear with me for a second. If we now set this to 25, do you still get the Oh wait, what if we just set this to 50 and we set the reflection to nothing? Of course there will be reflection, but I'm just testing right now. Okay, so it does have the cutoff on hangers right now. This is good. What if we just set it to 0 and set the reflection to 0? Not sure if that creates a good effect though. I'm fairly sure that creates a shit effect because reflection is a large part of the game. If you take it out, then bad things will happen to good people. Okay. Do we really set the cutoff to 0 on me? That's so lazy. I know, but let's try it. I mean, what do we have to lose? Did we say this angle? I mean, we can change it to say. I mean, I do want a little bit of the dish visible. So, okay. So we're gonna set it to U, and then we're going to. The zooming out is always annoying. Sadly, you can't set the scroll speed for this thing. I suppose I could set a setting on my mouse to specifically zoom for the map editor, but it's so annoying. Okay, so then we have to select the Death Star again, which will be in and around here. If we zoom out plenty, then we should eventually find it. We were able to a second ago. Before we tested it. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to angle this. Okay? So it's very simple. Rotation. Does it rotate? Okay? So right now it's like this. Looks a little fucky and it's still gonna be on the track, but I want to know if it corrects the tilt. If it corrects the tilt, then we... And that's actually very, very annoying, but still. Oh, I waited so long for all the planet props to be done and then the Death Star size to be finalized, and now that it's all done, we can finally make the new maps. We do need to figure out the rules of the game, and the rules of the game are very, very, very important to keep in mind. One of the rules of the game is, for example, does the game tilt the Death Star in position back on scale to the, or back on track to the planet center? And if it does that, then that's an annoying rule we'll have to take into account. If it doesn't, that gives us a lot of freedom. Okay, so how's this lighting? Was there actually a frigate here that we can test the Death Star on? Because I'd love to show off the effect I created yesterday. No? Oh, that's unfortunate. I forgot to replace the map. Smart. You smart. You loyal. Appreciate that. But not smart enough to set the thing up correctly. Okay, so GFG games, data, art, maps, aggregate array. Okay. Sorry guys, I'm not keeping up with the chat. I really should. Oh God, sorry guys. I really need to keep up with the chat. Hello there, Grox Chica. Welcome to the stream, man. Welcome to the stream. I'm your host, the Dutchman, and today we're creating some space maps. I think about you. We got the assignments. Thank you. I'm flattered. Do you happen to have a release date? Well, you know, when it's done. Yeah, that was the joke. Welcome back, by the way. I remember you being here more often. It's good to see some regulars back. It's nice. We have this small little core community of people that keeps coming back. I kind of like it. Will it be made by commission? Won't be made by commission? Please. Oh, right, it was his name. Jared, please make Reds. The ship from The Last Jedi. I think that the Battlefront 2 game had a decent model of that, if you're really, really looking for one. Other than that, honestly, I'm not that interested in the ship, really. I don't think I could use it for the mod anyway. I'm back. Welcome back, then. I haven't used Discord for a while. Well, you know, as good a time as any to get back. What rest is the planet backdrop? The texture for the planets are all 2K. They managed to dodge the textures resolution rescale that I did. I changed all the texture resolutions back to 1K for pretty much all ships. But things like, for example, particle textures or planet backdrops, starfields, obviously. They're all still 2K, because if you reduce their size back to 1K, it takes too much away from the detail. It's gonna look bad. So you have to keep that in mind. So I skipped those. Planets and such are all 2K still. So real quick, is the Skyrim? Absolutely. Skyrim and Morrowind we are listening to right now. In a bit, once we're sick of it, we will change over to World of Warcraft music, of course, because that is absolutely classic music. Love it. So far, not much. Icarus, we tested. We're still testing the Death Star mechanics, actually. Oh, how does the game handle the Death Star, and does it tilt it back and forward on the map? That's what we're trying to figure out right now. Be all those kids learn to fuck up like maps. Yeah. Quick question: do you plan on adding the Corvus? No. Infinite Geronimo. Oh yeah. We get all these alternate timeline me's. Awesome sauce, welcome back, man. Dutchman intensifies. Oh yeah. What's this? Did Farseer post something fancy? Oh, I love it when he posts something fancy. The man is so good at what he does. Is this update new? No? How did I miss this? Rise of the Man. When's this updated? What? Is this from 2 days ago? How did I miss this? Okay, so I'll have to see it. Any new images? Or is it just this? It's just this, isn't it? So you know, I've been trying to teach myself C++ with the hopes of being able to code my own shaders. Hasn't been the easiest endeavor in the history of my modding career, but nothing worthwhile is easy. Well said, well said. That said, a major breakthrough occurred, and with a little help from fellow modders, I was able to finally get the thing working. So now we'll probably go into modding lockdown, writing all kinds of new... I love that man so much. And now he's making new shaders. The god. Practical use for this could be Deathclone debris or ship hulks. What's he even got? I'll be looking at this for a second. For hair? What the hell has he written? New shader on the left, original on the right.
Hello everyone, I am
he's speaking.
Video real quick to illustrate a new shader that I've created for Empire at War that is a modification of the original game's mesh bump colorize shader.
Alright.
For those of you who haven't messed with shaders, don't mod the game. That is a shader that is used on almost all of the units in the game that allows for application of a basic texture.
Yeah. We know.
What I've done is
what have you done?
Added the capability to apply a third texture that has an alpha channel and will allow for transparency to be applied. The default game's alpha
that's what he was talking about.
That allows for
on Discord.
Transparency and a base texture but no normal map doesn't really... Well, it doesn't really look all that great. It doesn't interact with the global lighting very well. It doesn't pick up a lot of subtle highlights very well. It just isn't all that good. So I wanted to make a shader that looked the same quality as the units that it might be used in conjunction with, and I also wanted to implement some way that meshes that had this shader applied to it could pick up
that
shadows,
Dreadnought looks good like that.
which is something else that the original game shader does not do. If a unit passes over it, or it goes underneath a prop, or something else that is casting a shadow, it will simply omit the shadow, which kind of takes it out of place, makes it look like it doesn't belong. It's just one of those subtle things that kind of pulls your attention out of the game, breaks that immersion, and I am a firm believer, as most of you know, that these small details are what really make a mod great.
Absolutely, agreed,
so
right.
This is showcasing those abilities to have base texture, normal maps, transparency, better interaction with light, the global lighting on the maps and that sort of thing, and the ability to receive any shadows that are cast. And I would just like to give a really special thanks to Gockler on the Empire at War Modding Hub Discord.
The dude's a god.
He figured out that I was missing a step in compiling the shader. I was having some trouble getting it to work in game, and was pulling my hairs out because I had done something in the code wrong. Turns out I had coded the shader correctly, I just wasn't compiling it right. So Gockler helped me out with that and got the shader compiled, and now it works. So thanks a lot, dude, and I hope I'm pronouncing your username right.
Right, okay.
I owe you one.
So basically what the new shader does is it allows you to create... Was that a... Duh, that's what he's saying. Okay, sorry. Right, so basically what the new thing does is it allows you to create a new... or attach a new texture to an already existing shader. The shader we use for ships, like, well, pretty much everything. And allows you to set in that texture the transparency. For example, this is a single plane, the single texture. But this is transparent because that texture has has the information to tell the game this has to be transparent. So now you can create like now what can you create with that? A second Death Star, for example, you could create using that shader. Actually, that would be very useful for exactly that purpose. You could place it on planes. That could actually... Right, so this is basically what you'd need to, if you want to create a Death Star 2, which looks not like shit. And it allows you to basically have transparency on things. And it also allows you to cast shadow meshes on it, which is also very, very, very good, obviously, because the more text, the more shadows you see, the better it is. Right. May I use your Eclipse in my sales pitch of my hull pet? Okay. I was about to say no, but you're Doki, so you get to do that. Go ahead, if you want. Just do the whole credit thing, of course. Then it's fine. But yeah, Doki, go right ahead. I still think the green engine and the green engine field and the bow of the Eclipse look a tad too garish. What's garish? Obtrusively bright and showy. And which part? The green engine and the green engine field. Okay. Does it? Let's test it in game, by the way. We replaced the map now. No, don't think I agree. Yeah, as I just said a bit ago, you can create interesting effects, a lot of weird stuff in the game, but the point is, it has to look good. Like, you can create a lot of random stuff that looks very interesting, but not necessarily good. Now, the potential lies in the ability to create weird shit, of course, but the true purpose of it and the meat of the feature lies in actually not creating something weird, but creating something that looks good using the new techniques that you found out. Now, the baking... Okay, so it does actually. That's unfortunate. It does look pretty reasonable with the bloom, though. Oh, I'm still so sorry that we can't actually use a fucking shadow on the Death Star. That's so unfortunate. Still, if it could have a shadow, by the way, this would look 1,000 times better. So it doesn't actually. It does actually correct the pitch. This is unfortunate. Anyway, back to the Eclipse thing. So yeah, you do actually have to create something good, and I think that with the... Oh right, it's no longer selected. And I do think that with the Eclipse, I use the features to actually create something that looks better than what it originally was, or that it was without the new features like the glowy engines and the glowy, whatchamacallit, the front. I don't think it's too... Right, what was the reset camera button? Home. Ah, that's useful. So yeah, I do think it fits. So if you spawn that there, from this distance, and you plop the Annihilator in right there, then it spawns almost right on top of the defense fleet. That's interesting. This is why we increased the map size. And of course, if you place the Eclipse there, which I thought I had, apparently we didn't. Let's actually fix that real quick. What do we name the Eclipse? Units. I almost go down too far. Eclipse. Eclipse Star Dreadnought. And then we go back to the spawn file, temp planet, and then we go down here somewhere. What? No. Quads. Oh yeah, I have to go up. We are replacing. I mean, we don't need the Annihilator. Annihilator starts to Eclipse. Okay. So now instead of the Annihilator, it'll spawn the Eclipse. Of course, the Annihilator is the ship class for the ship class of the Purifier. In game, it's called the Purifier. Okay, so we place this right here, and this is very simple. I mean, redoing maps is not difficult, and it just takes a little bit of time. Spawn position right there, and now you can very simply hit save, and now you're done. Right? It's very simple. The interesting thing is, of course, is when you start adding more stuff like asteroids or, well, Nebula I'm not so much a fan of, because I think the Nebula actually obstruct gameplay, especially with the large ships we have. If you place a large asteroid field in the middle, the Eclipse will try to, for example, or the Executor will try to go around the asteroid field that you could place in the middle, so it's not always a good thing to place stuff. And I do try to keep space maps as empty as they can be. But of course, having every map just empty and boring is just more boring. So, should we add anything? Should we add anything to the map? A brigade array. I've got no clue what would even be here. We could place some space prop.